haven't used any of your skills, any of the things that you claim that you're experts in. A disgusting result. I don't want to hear anything more from you. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Jack T. Welcome to The Apprentice, You're Fired. This week, as well as a firing, there was a shock resignation in the boardroom, but luckily nobody overreacted and everyone just took it in their stride.
What's he doing? Oh, my God.
But for me, that wasn't the most shocking moments of the week. Lord Sugar's aide, Karen Brady, got it badly wrong.
No show flat, no floor plans. They're just a plate of biscuits.
You are wrong. There were jam tarts on that plate, and you know it, Brady. And Gary showed that when it comes to selling, he knows how to charm the ladies.
Nice throne.
I think he needs to stay in, yeah?
Yeah, I could do with a moment, but I don't want to put the clients off.
Yep, he's thinking probably best not do the leave a deposit gag. Joining me for this week's viewing are much sought-after international business advisor Alison Stewart-Allen, handy for the station, Radio 1's Greg James, and sitting tenant is Romesh Ranganathan. Welcome to You're Fired. Now, Selina was fired tonight, as we know. She's not going to be joining us this evening, but we do wish her all the best for the future. However, that wasn't the only story of the night. Yes, in tonight's apartment selling task, one candidate got himself into a real estate after his performance was a little flat. I'm sorry, I'd like to exit the process at this point.
Scott, I've got to tell you, from what I'm hearing, you are a very, very lucky man. Anyway, I'll see you on the next task, OK?
It's all right. I would just like to quickly say thank you for the opportunity, but I would like to exit the process at this point.
Oh, my God. You're doing my job for me. All I can do is thank you very much indeed, OK?
Thank you very much.
My God. Scott, what are you doing?
I'm off.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Scott Saunders. I love you. Scott. Woo. Whoa. That's quite a reception. They love you. Welcome to Your Fired. I can't even call it Your Fired.
I don't know. You're
trying to put me out of a job here? I can't call it, oh, that's it, I'm off. That's what the show's called from now on. Why did you do that? Why did you do it?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, I feel a little bit kind of starstruck just kind of being here in front of you guys.
Don't worry about that.
Completely understandable, mate.
To be honest, I mean, I think maybe I outstayed my welcome, especially on that task, judging by what Lord Sugar said. I think, you know, there is two people in the kind of investment process, and I think possibly that me and Lord Sugar, I don't think would have worked for business going forward. I don't know. I think there's better people suited.
In which case, I mean, you chose your words very, very carefully, but weren't you tempted to? You could have said anything. Now you knew you were going. You could have called him Alan.
Yeah, I chose the words carefully purely because, you know, he's a very respectable person, and he's accomplished so much. It's a great opportunity for me to even be there. So when I made that decision, I don't think it's right for me to continue. There's other people there that may be best suited for Lord Sugar. Right. And I didn't want to take that, you know, opportunity.
Even though you were on the winning side, Lord Sugar said that you were lucky not to be fired. Let's have a look at why he would have said that.
According to the feedback I got from Karen, when actually push came to shove, you didn't know the answer to a lot of questions.
So this area here would be for your washing machine, and also it would be for your fridge. I didn't know everything straight away.
You didn't know anything, actually, Scott.
This will be walking into the dining room.
Scott?
Yep.
It's the lounge.
The pitch was okay. I mean, it wasn't great. So we're just here, and it's very highly populated by everybody.
It was just a train crash.
It's a nice open space for the windows to have the sun come in throughout the day and the night.
And the contrast between the two teams was staggering. You two were impressive. You two, not so much.
Well, is there to do?
Resign? Listen, Scott, you got quite defensive in the boardroom about the fact you'd never sold property before.
Yeah.
But all you had to do was remember a layout of
Yeah.
the flat, and the walls were only that high anyway, so you could see it from where you were standing. What was your problem? Did your mind go blank?
There's a lot to learn in a really small amount of time. I'm good at designing and, selling if I know exactly what the product is. And when I'm really confident, that's great for me. Obviously, I can go in really hard. On this, I just couldn't pick up everything from it. It just wasn't coming to my mouth. And when I was speaking to the few people that came through, I just was getting everything wrong. I mean, if it wasn't for Brett, for some of them, I would have been, slept there like a turkey.
Yeah.
It was so strange because you're getting the... I mean, I was sort of thinking I'd quite like to live with Scott. This guy doesn't care what the rooms are. He'll eat in the bathroom, he'll take a wee in the kitchen. This guy doesn't
when I'm
care.
drunk,
It was weird because sort of Lord Sugar challenged you on that, and he said, well, I haven't got experience of being an estate agent, but you do have experience of living in a house. Surely to sort of identify the rooms.
Alison, if you want to buy a property, you want to buy a property. Does it matter how well the estate agent performs? No one thinks, oh, it's the perfect house, it's the right price, but hang on a second, that estate agent didn't like his aftershave, I'm not buying it. Does that happen? It's got to be the right person you buy from?
It matters a lot. Yes, it does, because what you're selling is more than just a physical place to live.
Yeah.
You're selling a romantic idea for people. So it's more than just a transaction. If you're spending that kind of money, you want a bit of a relationship, you want to trust the person, you need the reassurance. So there's a lot more to it than just, let's do the deal.
It perhaps wasn't the most eloquent sales patter on that occasion, but tell us more about these windows that let in the sun during the day and the night.
Well, I think we should look into that. It could be a new...
You were bigging up Clapham. It's good. You called it the Clapham.
Yeah.
Which is a
It
weird
should be
nickname.
known as its own place, I think. It's got a lot to offer. I think.
It has. Well, not anymore, but... It's always the case that when teams are split between high-ticket and low-ticket items, there's always going to be competition. But you were very, very touchy about wanting to sell the high end, and then later admitted you know nothing about property, which is a pretty strange strategy, isn't it?
I thought I knew everything about property.
You did?
And then it turns out there's more to just bricks and rooms.
If you want windows, there is.
Yeah.
Romesh, did you feel for Scott?
Yeah, I really did feel for you because you sort of... you could feel that you were beaten down by the task, and I thought you did things that actually, if you were feeling positive, you would have tackled better. Like, for example, when that couple asked for a discount, and you obviously had not a great discount to give, it was 1% discount, I think that in another week, you would have sold that better. You would have told them what the monetary value of that was. You would have gone, well, I can do this, and it works out as this amount of money. And yeah, I really felt for you because you sort of your skills, which you obviously have, you've proven that you've got skills. They just abandoned you in that task.
This might have been the final straw, this task, but your energy did seem to decrease over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just have a look at this to remind yourself.
Too versatile. Just says anything that comes our way, we can basically deal with it.
Really confident in taking the picture on. It can't go that wrong. 19 quid then, yeah? I would obviously love to put myself up as project manager. Well, I've been in the winning team 3 times in a row. I feel like I'm in my element. I love selling. Probably the best children's book, I don't know, on the market right now. I can imagine it looking amazing, especially in the summer. How you doing, you all right? I'm not interested. You don't know what I've got to say. I haven't even said anything. I said I'm not interested. Yeah, well, I didn't feel good at any part of the task.
You're going to be PM again?
No, it's just been horrendous.
I was expecting Pudsey Bear to come in and give you a hug.
I would hug him right back.
That was so sad.
When we hit the Manchester task, discount buying, that's when it really hit me.
It broke your spirit, though,
It
didn't it?
did,
Felt like
actually,
that,
a lot. I put 100 million% into every single task.
That works.
So figures might be a problem for you.
I stayed away from them. I put so much effort into everything I did. I'm really passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
And when it came down to the kind of discount buying, I felt a little bit let down because I was really trying to pull everyone together, and that's when it hit me.
Because you started kind of acting quite weird, didn't you?
Yeah.
You started harassing strangers and talking to people on the escalator, trying to sell people Maltesers randomly.
Yeah, I knew my whole flow was off. I wasn't in sync. I wasn't in my element that I normally am.
OK. Well, Karen pointed out in the boardroom that the difference between Brett and Scott and Richard and Varna was staggering, and Varna, in particular, really did seem to know what she was doing this week. Let's have a look.
We loved this experience. We felt it from the moment we saw your office, and seeing the building, I mean, it's really incredible. OMG.
Varna understood that the man was very passionate about his building and talked architecture with him. I think the guy was very impressed.
My parents are actually architects in New York, so
then it's an easy conversation.
Yeah. Canary Wharf has a brand name to it that just, it makes it really attractive. Where are you from, by the way? Are you Italian? From Brazil. You've been chosen as one of the exclusive customers that we've called today. Hi, Mr. Jamil.
Yes, hi.
I'm Vanna. Nice to meet you. My parents have a 3-bedroom in New York, and they're architects, so I know what the flow will be like.
Let's go for it.
What do her parents do again? Because I felt she should have mentioned that a bit more. Yeah. Alison, Varna took a few risks there, and she and Richard decided not to use the show flag, which was a bit too much like a building site. She effectively ended up doing a made-up plan on the back of an envelope. Is that the way to go? Would you have done it that way?
Well, I think people want to see something.
Yeah.
You know, so I would have used that show flat.
I don't know
rather
why they
than...
didn't, to be honest. I was really kind of like... I didn't understand why they didn't go in there.
No, I didn't understand that either.
Greg, were you impressed by Varna's performance on this?
I was. I feel like I'd be ground down by her being so nice and interested in everything. And I think I probably would have bought a house off her. And then, but back to in the task as a whole, who are these people that are just turning up and going, oh, I haven't seen it, but yeah, I mean, let's go for it.
Yeah.
There's one woman that said, oh, my husband's going to kill me. Like, are you joking?
But I think Varna, her conviction, I really believed in, and that bit with the guys who turned up in the Rolls Royce, and she was there going, and she was sort of crept in and went, I've done absolutely everything we can for you. Like, okay, I believe you. I believe this means so much to you. Yes, have all my money. I want to buy the house. I'll buy 10. Let's go, yes.
To be honest with you, those guys, I mean, they probably bought a flat on their way to that meeting. Do you know what I mean?
Let's talk for a minute about the really important stuff. What did you think of their snack collections? Selections?
I thought it was unacceptable. Yeah. You know, if you haven't got a floor plan, you've got to have vol-au-vents. That is a basic rule. Jam tarts? What? I think Lord Sugar should have come out and gone, is this the snacks? You're fired. There's no way that should be allowed.
So Varna saved your skin, didn't she, with the in the handyman task? Because you basically promised this woman you were going to transform her home into the Eden Project.
Do you know what?
with nothing but a trowel. And Varna was on and came and said, oh, well, hold on a second, Liz. Basically, we're going to mow your lawn, get rid of the mattress and the syringes. and that's about it. But that was... Because that saved a big embarrassment for you, didn't it?
Yeah. Varna grew within the process. At the start, she may not have done that well, but this task especially, the property, she was in an absolute element. You couldn't fault her. She knew the industry inside and out. She's grown up on it, you know. It was made.
Has she? Really?
Yeah. Did you know her mum and dad are architects?
They are now.
Yeah.
Well, now, at this point, we normally talk about the winning team, but things have been turned on their head this week. So we're moving on to talk about the losing team, Team Versatile. And Selena was the fired candidate, of course, as I mentioned. She isn't here tonight, but let's have a look at her journey through the process and how she ended up in the boardroom.
Okay, so I'm going to be project manager. Scott, Charlene and myself are all going to go and sell. Amazing.
I just don't like questions that make no sense.
You're right, I shouldn't bring up anything that I have an opinion on. Por favor, por favor, s'il vous plaît.
There's an old saying, no smoke without fire. You are a different person on task than you are in this boardroom.
Yay! This will be the best purchase you've made all year. I sold the most yesterday.
OK, you did sell the most yesterday, but this morning you didn't.
She looks like she's got the hump to me.
Now, Selena, this is right up your alley. Party planning.
Okay, and make a wish.
They loved it. Well done on your win.
I think for me it's not going to be today.
I think it's a real shame that I didn't confirm any business.
On this task, it seems you couldn't even flog a property playing Monopoly. Selena, you're fired.
Alison, Selena got the job that she wanted, selling high-end properties, and she didn't sell anything.
No.
Was it her fault, do you think?
There were a lot of things going on. One was her consistent lack of taking on ownership of the problems. And as I watched not just this episode, but all of the last ones, She clearly is assuming that every mistake is everybody else's fault. So that's a problem. But it's also about this romancing of the customer, listening, not having just her own agenda top of mind, but really wanting to know what is that customer, in this case, what does this buyer really want in a property? And I didn't see a lot of demonstration of true understanding or listening. So that's a problem for me.
Ramesh, the criticism's been levelled at Selina week after week. That she sits back, she's not proactive enough, doesn't help out, and lets other people do the work. Is that generally is that fair?
No, I was devastated to see Selina go, and I think the reason she didn't make the sales was clearly Joseph's fault. And I'm joking. I mean, I think the problem is that she did do good things. You know, she was project manager first week out. She's won as project manager when it came to the party plan. She did do good things. She has got qualities. I think the problem is, 1 minute she's saying that the guy that had the properties didn't like Joseph, and she was the one that was suited to selling these high-end properties. Then the next minute, when she doesn't sell a high-end property, it's because Joseph wasn't giving her guidance. Is Joseph good or is Joseph rubbish? She needs to make up her mind on that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that, although I think she does have qualities, I think she would do well to listen to some criticism a bit more and use that to improve as the process goes on, rather than just shutting it down and saying, no, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault.
There was this thorny topic of who may or may not be polished enough to sell to millionaires. Should that matter? If you can sell, can't you sell to anyone?
It should matter, and it does matter, especially at the top end. So when you want to spend that kind of money, you have to trust the person that's selling you that property. And if that polish is missing, seeds of doubt are sown.
Joseph was told to lose his braces and the pink shirt because it didn't give off the right image, whatever that show. I mean, in fairness, he does look like Tony Soprano's nephew, doesn't he? But did they have a point telling him to change the way he looked?
Absolutely. If there's a huge disconnect and you don't look like them, then you're basically raising lots of flags in people's minds like, how come you don't look like me? You should look like me. I want to trust you. And we trust people that look like us.
I think that's a massive issue, because there's definitely no one else in the country that has that moustache. You know, that needs to go.
But all credit to Joseph for keeping his quiff, even with the hard hat on. Joseph, as project manager, generally did you as a good job or not?
I think he did a good job. I think he just went for it. And I think because he's quite young, you can't really fault that. Yeah. You're just going, yeah, I'll give it a go.
The way that he went into those negotiations about taking on the high-end properties was insanity. You know, he could see the guy was passionate about that, you know, this new complex, and he just went straight into, well, I think we should talk about the price. You know, you've got to show that they're not going to be short of people wanting to sell £1 million properties. You know, so you're not in short supply here. You've got to sell yourself. I didn't do that, and he could have done.
OK. Well, it wasn't just the clients Joseph had to handle, it was his team as well, and the relationship between two of them in particular.
I definitely didn't want to put Charlene and Selina together. You know, they've knocked heads throughout.
Do you think it maybe should have explained that on the bottle and actually said cactus oil is
There's no point
richer
talking
than...
about that now, Charlene.
It's nice to have feedback. I really appreciate feedback.
Unfortunately, we had people on the sub-team that really wanted to be project manager. It's all about Charlene, as usual.
What I'm saying is what you do,
Selina. Your voice sounded, you need to shout.
Oh, Selina, you're just like an irritating wasp at a picnic.
That's your issue. I mean, she shouldn't be in this process, and I'm amazed that she has any business at all.
No, do not talk over me, right? Give me a chance to speak.
I just had to deal with Charlene screaming at me for 5 minutes in a cafe, and Joseph, both of them.
Selina.
No, both of them screaming at me, making personal insults. I'm not here to make personal insults.
Comments about...
And breathe. Now, Scott, Joseph admitted that he arranged the teams the way he did because he didn't want to put Selina and Charlene alone together. Meanwhile, 7 million viewers going, do it, do it, do it. What would you have done in his position?
To be honest, I probably would have done exactly the same as him. They're two great characters. They're very similar age, same as me and Brett, very similar aged, and they just went at each other all the time. You couldn't keep them together anywhere. Like, it was ridiculous.
That is definitely 100% what he should have done. Why was he running away from that? It's only win-win there. Do you know what I mean? It's strategically. Put them together, and then you can do whatever you want, because they're just going to kill each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just sit back and chill out. You don't have to make a single call. Lord Sugar says, we didn't sell anything. Yeah, but everyone's alive in my sub-team. I don't know why he didn't go for that.
I mean, Alison, surely rivalry within a business team can be a good thing, can't it?
Absolutely, and many companies do this on purpose because they know that actually you're upping the ante, but it's done in a functional way, not a dysfunctional way. And it's also depersonalized in a sense. So you're competing for performance, you're competing to get a result commercially. You're not competing against a personality. If it's done well, it's productive.
Once the disappointment about not being allowed to sell the high-end properties had subsided, Charlene actually went on and did very, very well with the medium-range apartments. Were you impressed?
I was. I think there's something very interesting about Charlene's MO, her modus operandi, how she operates. It's the presumptive close. So in selling, you assume you've got the deal done. You assume the sale. And in almost every episode, you see Charlene saying, so, that's a deal. So she's assuming it's done. And there's a lot about the psychology of that that really does work.
I think we need to address the fact that Charlene did something that was, you know, completely out of order in this task, and that is go out into the street and canvass clients. I just thought you're encouraging estate agents to leave their natural habitat. We're no longer safe anywhere we go. Do you know what I mean? We could be shopping anywhere and you get accosted by someone going, want to buy a house? Piss off! Do you know what I mean? I thought that was a horrible precedent to set.
Well, as we know, this series, Romesh has been investigating what it might be like to be an apprentice candidate. So what have you been looking at this week?
Actually, I have been observing the candidates throughout the process. I thought it was just something, it'd be a good experience for me to watch them on the tasks, just mainly to sort of reinforce my belief in my own superior skills. But I'm surprised you haven't noticed me. Well, actually, the truth is you won't have noticed me because I did disguise myself pretty well. This is me first up in the Desert Secret task here. Secreted behind a cactus. The next task, basically, I went to France and I decided to blend in with the locals. And what I found there is that the locals really enjoy basic stereotyping. That's sort of what I found. The next task, I wore one of the most versatile garments that I've ever worn, actually. You can wear that with a suit, you can wear that with a tracksuit, you can wear that with a bikini. It's brilliant. Next up, this is me on the cash and carry task. Here I had hidden myself so well that I nearly got shipped to China. And then I decided to join in with the property task. Now, that is not actually me being greedy. I just took that so that I could chuck it at Richard to knock some of the smug off of him.
Thank you very much, Romesh.
Thank you.
You know, I've got an idea for Christmas, Romesh. You know, Where's Wally? I'm going to get a little woolly jumper, stripy jumper for you and a stripy hat and put you in the middle of a big crowd and go home. So, Scott, sadly, Lord Sugar isn't going to be investing in you, which is a great shame. Not that you gave me a chance, really. But let's have a look to see whether he's got any advice for you.
Scott had performed very, very well throughout the course of the process up until this particular task. And it was clear from information given to me that he had made some serious mistakes. And I have to say that I pressurised him quite a bit, and so did Karen. Up until then, he'd been quite good. He'd been very helpful to his other colleagues. He'd been cohesive in keeping the teams together. I was very surprised that he took that attitude in the end. And all I can say to him is that maybe lesson learnt there, because he's quite good at encouraging his colleagues and workmates. And I think he let himself down a little bit in the end.
Yeah, Lord Sugar's putting on a brave face, but underneath, he's still hurting. Scott, do you think there's fair comments there? There's some good stuff there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's really fair. I mean, as we've been going through, talking about it, I wasn't performing as well towards the end. And everything you said there is completely, fair.
So what's next for you, Scott?
So I've just launched my company, which is the first of its kind payroll comparison website. It compares contractor accountants, umbrella companies, insurance companies, all in one place. And it's the first to exist in the world. So it's a good place for the self-employed.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
I hope it goes really well for you. Well, usually at this point, we find out whether we agree that Scott was the right person to be fired, and that's not going to work this week, obviously. But just for fun, let's find out if you would have hired or fired Scott. Now, Alison.
For this particular task, I'm afraid, Scott, I would have fired you. I think you have great potential. You heard Lord Sugar talk about your enthusiasm. I just didn't really see that coming through, so...
Fair point.
Yeah. Greg?
I think, in terms of the whole show, I would have definitely kept you there. I think you're one of the good guys, so I would have kept you on.
Cheers.
Romesh?
Scott, I think you are a phenomenal seller. I think you're going to go on to be a massive success, and you've got great qualities. But I would say that you needed to be fired for your own safety.
And so to the audience vote, would you have hired or fired Scott? I'm afraid that's looking pretty much like a fired Scott. When you could, you know, but, you know, not, okay, you can put them down. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to leave.
No. Well, you know what? We're really sorry to be losing you from The Apprentice, because you've been a joy to watch. When you walked out, you passed on the opportunity to enjoy one of the coveted Apprentice treats. So we didn't want you to miss out. So I've got you the Speedboat Experience Kit. So that's your own speedboat, you see. I'll put that there. You've got all the characters there. Oh, brilliant. If I do that, you get the wind in your face. Ooh, wind in your face.
Really feel this. Really feeling it.
You would if it worked. You get the wind in your face. Oh, cool. I got it from a discount shop, so it's not... Wow. There you are. And then a little bit of water on you.
Really setting this up.
Wow. So that's... Right.
That just feels weird.
And this... as you know, it's the BBC, so we have to be health and safety. I need you to wear those at all times. Well, Scott, you've been a great guest, great candidate, and let's have a look at your highlights.
Ready?
Got sweet say 2 for £1.50. Too much bush.
Scott just wants the best out of himself and the best out of everyone. He's a lovely person.
These look absolutely amazing. I made it just now to come out for you. Yeah, it's bloody nice. I tasted it earlier. I can imagine it looking amazing, especially in the summer. We want to get rid of everything that we can for more of the price we paid for it.
I think he's a very, very strong business person, but he's got a soft side to himself as well.
Do it, man. Get yourself a selfie stick. I practically scuba dived. We've got the fish from the sea. This stuff is spot on. It's the best one ever. Did I not say that?
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Saunders. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you to Alison, Greg and Romesh. So it's on to task number 10 for our candidates.
For your next task, I'd like you to create your own healthy snacks.
Basically just vegetables.
It is known as Britain's Viagra.
I'm seeing the front of a packet as a massive V.
It's great for contraception.
You're saying, I think maybe onto something here.
Tastes quite pepperminty.
It's made with nutritional yeast.
They've got a few problems here.
Too greasy, too small, too weirdly shaped.
We went to retailers with this. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with this.
Now, if you think you've got what it takes to become Lord Sugar's business partner, go to bbc.co.uk/apprentice for details of how to apply for the next series. We'll be back next Wednesday at 10 for more Your Fired When alongside Romesh. I'll be joined by health food industry heavyweight Anthony Fletcher and the fabulous Ruth Jones. Good night.
And as if that's not enough excitement and humour to look forward to, then make sure you join Russell Howard to enjoy his good news tomorrow night at 10. While over on BBC 3, a weekend of lad banter in store for the flatmates as comedy Josh continues.